The 41st millennium is a universe that has weaponized despair itself. It is a future built upon a foundation of grinding, hopeless war, where concepts like mercy are heresy and laughter is an unforgivable weakness. In this age of unending darkness, some truths are so antithetical to existence that they must be buried, for they are too dangerous to contemplate. The truth that arrived was not a fleet or a god, but an anomaly so profound it threatened the very narrative of ruin upon which the galaxy was built. It began not with a grand portal tearing through the heavens, but with a subtle cosmic glitch, a sound like someone pressing the skip button on existence. But into this sanctum of certainty, this final cathedral of suffering, a cosmic error was about to be written in a language the galaxy had forgotten. Joy. Aboard the plague ship Terminus Est, a cathedral consecrated to the beauty of decay, the herald of Nurgle, Lord Typhus, stood as a monument to 10,000 years of ruin. It was into this beating heart of corruption that the anomaly first arrived, a living paradox poised to test the solemnity of disease itself. This section chronicles the initial collision between the putrescent grandeur of the 41st millennium and an unprecedented, universe-altering form of absurdity. He appeared on the bridge as a wound in the world, a violent slash of crimson against the endless putrid green. A man in a coat the color of fresh spilled blood, his face split by a grin that promised nothing but chaos. As plague marines leveled their bolt guns, the stranger simply looked around, his gaze filled not with terror, but with a connoisseur's appreciation. "Holy shit!" Alucard said, his voice a clean blade cutting through the grim silence. "Did I just fall into a Slipknot music video directed by H.R. Giger? Because this is amazing!" Typhus, whose voice had commanded legions and broken worlds, began to rumble a threat born of ancient power. He was cut off by a sound the Terminus Est had not heard in millennia, pure, unadulterated delight. "Oh my God, you talk like a cartoon villain," the intruder interrupted, pointing with both hands. "That's adorable. Do it again. Say something ominous. I want to record this." In that moment, the first heresy of this new age was committed. It was not a blow against faith or an act of defiance, but a critique of its stagecraft. It was a jest that dismantled the very atmosphere of terror upon which chaos thrives, a sacrilege that would echo through the warp until a laughing god was forced to turn his gaze. The confrontation escalated from dialogue to combat, though only one side seemed to recognize it as such. Confronted by the grotesque majesty of the Death Guard and their reverence for the Plague God, the anomaly's response was not fear, but a manic glee that bordered on worship. "Grandfather Nurgle," he declared, doubled over in laughter. "That's the most precious thing I've ever heard. What's next? Does Khorne go by Uncle Angry?" What followed could not be called a battle. It was a farce written in blood, a comedy of errors where the punchline of every joke was a bolter round regenerating into delighted laughter. Typhus's man-reaper, a scythe that had reaped 1,000,000 souls, passed through Alucard as if he were smoke. As bolter rounds tore him to ruin, he simply reformed, his laughter genuine and delighted, leaving Typhus's warriors staring in disbelief, their entire reality of solemn violence being dismantled before their eyes. In a final act of mockery that shattered 10 millennia of grim certainty, he tapped Typhus on the shoulder, and when he turned, booped him on the nose. This sacrilege drew the gaze of Nurgle himself. In a psychic communion that should have shattered a mortal mind, the god of decay offered his gifts of eternal life and blissful corruption. Alucard, already a damned and immortal thing, found the exchange profoundly amusing, declaring Nurgle's power set to be akin to being the god of dad sneezes and clogged toilets. After cheerfully rejecting the divine offer, Alucard released Restriction Level 1. The bridge of the Terminus Best was drowned in a tide of consumed souls. Hounds of living shadow and shades of forgotten warriors tore through the Death Guard, a definitive statement of power that Nurgle could not counter, corrupt, or comprehend. Having proven itself a poison to divine rot, the anomaly now turned its attention to the heart of mortal order. Alucard's materialization on the hive world of Tertius Prime represented a critical test. Having bewildered a chaos god, the universe now watched to see how the unholy, rigid order of the Imperium of Man would react to an anomaly that chaos itself could not comprehend. The answer would alter the strategic calculus of the galaxy forever. Alucard found the Imperium's works to be like if Hot Topic was a civilization, defined by a visually exhausting obsession with skulls. His first official contact with Imperial authority came in the form of local Arbites, whose accusations of heresy were met not with fear, but with utter astonishment. "Oh my God, you have a heresy quota, don't you?" His grin widened. "That's amazing." The perfunctory act of violence that followed was over before the first shell casing hit the floor. As the Arbites opened fire, Alucard regenerated with nonchalant ease before dispatching them with the thunderous roar of his comically oversized anti-tank pistols, the Jackal and Kassoon. This casual act of carnage brought him to the attention of a power far greater than local law enforcement. In a demon-proof chamber designed to break minds, Alucard met the Imperium's solemn rites with delighted mockery, before articulating his purpose with a sincerity that was in itself a shock. He was a weapon, and he served a master, Integra Hellsing. He explained his loyalty with a profane and earned respect. "She's smarter than me, colder than me, and has bigger balls than most men I've killed." This confession of purpose was the catalyst for an alliance that should have been impossible. His goal was not conquest or corruption, but simply to return to his master, because a weapon without a wielder is bad for everyone. Faced with an unkillable, uncorruptible entity of incomprehensible power, Vex committed the greatest heresy of her career. She considered a path other than annihilation. A pragmatic and unholy alliance was forged. Vex and the Inquisition would provide the resources to find a path home. In exchange, Alucard would serve as the Imperium's sword against chaos. The effect on Imperial operations was immediate and surreal, as this new asset began to dismantle chaos not merely on the battlefield, but at the very heart of its ideology. He promptly renamed Inquisitor Vex's ship the SS Emotional Support Genocide. He talked a Chaos Sorcerer into a full-blown existential crisis by critiquing his evil plan as derivative. He casually referred to a greater demon of Khorne, a being of pure, incandescent rage, as a spicy boy. This new weapon, this laughing monster, dismantled the very terror upon which the archenemy thrived. By doing so, he inevitably forced the ruinous powers into an unprecedented and unified response.